All right, let's just jump right into it. We're talking about Module 2 of the SAT math section. You know, this is the part of the test where the real points are made, or lost. So today, our entire goal is to give you a master plan to absolutely conquer it.
And this, right here, this is where we're headed. We're going to take that feeling of being completely lost in some confusing jungle of math problems and turn it into the confidence of just having a checklist. Seriously, by the time we're done, you'll know exactly what to do every single time a new question pops up.
And let's be real. Right now, it probably feels a lot like a jungle, doesn't it? Just this chaotic mix of questions, you have no idea what's coming next. But here's the thing. That feeling is on purpose. The SAT is designed to feel that way, but it's got a weakness, and that's what we're going to exploit.
You see, Module 2 isn't just some random pile of hard questions. It's what I like to call a gauntlet. It's a very carefully designed test to see if you can handle multiple concepts all at once.
And that's the real trick, isn't it? It's not just about if you know algebra or if you remember your geometry formulas. It's about seeing how a single problem can force you to use both of those, and maybe some data analysis, all on the same question. This is where so many people get tripped up. But honestly, this is where we're going to build our biggest advantage.
So, how do we start navigating this thing? Well, we begin by making sure our toolkit is packed and ready to go. We're going to break down all the key concepts into 3 main sets of tools that you can pull out for any problem they throw at you. Okay, first up, the visual tools. This is all your geometry stuff. You know, the equation of a circle, your SOHCAHTOA rules for triangles, properties of parallel lines, all that good stuff. Basically, think of this as the part of the test that gives you a picture to work with.
Now listen up, because this is absolutely critical. The SAT will intentionally draw diagrams that are not to scale just to mess with you. Your strategy has to be to completely ignore how it looks. Instead, you identify the shape, you label all the given values, and you trust the formulas. The numbers will never lie to you, but believe me, those pictures often do.
Next up in the toolkit, algebra and functions. This covers the whole shebang, from function notation, you know, that classic f of x, all the way to solving really complex systems of equations. These questions are all about understanding the rules that define the relationships between numbers.
The absolute key here is to fight that urge to solve everything in your head. When you see a huge, dense word problem, your first job isn't to be a mathematician, it's to be a translator. You turn the words into variables and the sentences into equations. Once you have it written down on paper, the math itself becomes a much, much simpler process.
And the final tool for our kit, probability and stats. This is where you're going to see all the charts, tables, and graphs. They'll ask you about mean, median, mode, and the chances of certain things happening. It's really the SAT's way of testing your real-world logic with numbers. And just like with the geometry diagrams, you can't trust the visuals alone. A bar on a graph might look like it's doubled in size, but the actual numbers might show, say, a 70% increase. The only way to know for sure is to pull the raw numbers from the chart first. Translate that picture into hard data, then do your analysis. And please, please always double-check the unit. Okay, so our toolkit is packed. Now it's time to go on the offensive. See, knowing the math is really only half the battle. The other half is knowing how the test is trying to trick you and having a countermove ready for every single trap. This is the question that really separates the good scores from the great scores. The SAT uses the same psychological tricks over and over and over again. Once you learn to spot them, they pretty much lose all their power over you. And this lays out the game plan perfectly. For every trap, there's a counter. When they give you a misleading diagram, you trust the numbers. When they try to trip you up with feet versus inches, you verify all your units. My personal favorite is the close wrong answers. Those are the answers you get if you make one tiny common mistake. The counter? Before you even solve, just pause and estimate. Does your gut tell you the answer should be something small, like around 10? Then an answer choice of 150 is almost certainly a trap.
All right, this is it, the big one. We've got our tools, we've got our counter moves. Now we put it all together into one universal master plan. This is the checklist that finally turns that jungle into a simple path forward.
This 6-step process is your new system. You use it for every single Module 2 question, no exceptions. And notice something really important here. Solving is step 4, not step 1. All the critical work happens before you ever start calculating anything. Understanding the question, labeling variables, translating it into math. And then steps 5 and 6, that's your safety net. That's how you catch those classic SAT traps before they catch you.
So why does having a system like this matter so much? I mean, why go through all this trouble? Because it's not just about getting 1 or 2 more questions right. It's about fundamentally changing how you deal with the hardest part of the entire test.
And here is the real payoff. Module 2 makes up almost half of your entire math section score. We're talking 40 to 45%. So mastering this one module with a consistent strategy isn't just a small improvement. It is the single biggest thing you can do to dramatically boost your score.
And what mastery really means is that the test just stops being surprising. Those hard questions stop feeling so random, and they start looking like predictable patterns that you've seen and you've solved a dozen times before. You're not just solving for X anymore, you're recognizing the type of problem and deploying the exact right tool from your toolkit.
So I want you to remember this. The SAT isn't just a test of your math skills. It's a test of your strategy and your ability to see right through the complexity. And with a clear plan, the right tools, and a sharp eye for the traps, well, you're not just a test taker anymore. You're a code breaker.